What's up with Mario and Donkey Kong? Are they buds or enemies or what? The recent release of Mario vs. Donkey Kong for the Switch really got me looking at their relationship in a different light, wondering where exactly they stand with each other after all these years. After all, they played board games, they've beaten each other up, they've competed in sports, and there might just be a romantic connection? But we can't possibly start there. So instead, let's start at the beginning of their journey, which doesn't actually start with today's Donkey Kong we know and love. See, Mario and Donkey Kong's relationship spans multiple generations. For those who don't know, this is Donkey Kong, but it's not Donkey Kong. It's actually Cranky Kong, but it is Donkey Kong. Cranky is Donkey Kong's grandfather, and even this is sometimes controversial, mostly because Donkey Kong 64 referred to DK as his son, and I'm sure there will be a whole new wave of controversy now that the movie gave them a father-son relationship. But various games have referred to Cranky as his grandfather, so it seems that in the games universe, this is what Nintendo has settled on. Though they've been awfully vague with his descriptions lately, so we'll see where they go next. But considering there's far more evidence for him being DK's grandfather, that's what I'm going with. Cranky's son then will be Donkey Kong Jr., which would make today's Donkey Kong formerly Donkey Kong III. But the beef starts at the top in the original Donkey Kong, when Cranky, Donkey Kong, kidnaps Pauline, and Mario, at the time known as Jumpman, kicks his booty to save her. Bad blood from the get-go. Then, in a shocking turn of events, Mario, bloodthirsty and hellbent on revenge, chains Donkey Kong up in a cage and patrols him with a whip, and wants to lock Donkey Kong Jr. up too. Can we look at this 100% real commercial from back when the game was released?
I got Donkey Kong, and now I'll get you too, Junior.
I'm Donkey Kong Jr., and that's my papa. I'm trying to save him, and boy, do I need your help.
Nintendo's Donkey Kong Jr., the arcade game, is now the Super Home video game.
Save your papa, huh? Save yourself first.
He's chasing me with snapping jaws, and I could fall.
Help Donkey Kong Jr. save his papa on your ColecoVision, Atari 2600 VCS, or Intellivision video game system.
Game players everywhere, please help me save my papa.
Yeah, if that guy enslaved my father, might hold a little grudge. I might not like go-karting with him. 10 real-life years later, though, DK Jr. was indeed on the roster of racers in Super Mario Kart. So is all forgiven and forgotten? Not quite. Wait, you think just because they're racing together, they're good buddies? You think Hamilton and Verstappen are besties? I'm not gonna lie, that joke was mostly for my mom to enjoy. Hi, Mama. But no, in the Super Mario Kart manual, Donkey Kong Jr. is classified as an arch enemy, so this is not a friendly get-together. Then Donkey Kong for the Game Boy was released, where once again, Donkey Kong, still Cranky Kong, captures Pauline, this time with Donkey Kong Jr. in tow, who Mario once again captures in a cage. Mario, you gotta chill with the cages. But interestingly, for seemingly no reason, at the end of the game we're shown a picture of all four of them together and smiling. You might think that this is Donkey Kong redeeming himself and making amends, but I think this is Mario redeeming himself. Look at the artwork for the original Donkey Kong arcade game. Look at Donkey Kong. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's just having fun. Look at Mario. Look at Mario and Donkey Kong Jr. Who needs to forgive who here? So I think this is where Nintendo decided they need to sweep all this drama under a nice friendly rug. Who enslaved who? That's crazy. I don't remember. Scientists may never know. Look at this selfie. After this was the release of Donkey Kong Country and our very first introduction to Donkey Kong III. And seemingly during this whole time, the Kong family are in a good place with Mario. DK Jr. was brought back to play tennis with Mario and the gang, where the roster doesn't have any other bad guys in it. It doesn't say anything about him being an enemy in the manual, and he plays doubles with the other good guys. And in Donkey Kong Country 2, Cranky places Mario as either first or second in his video game heroes rankings, depending on how many coins Diddy gets. Even Cranky's wife, Wrinkly Kong, is a Mario fan, as she can be seen playing Super Mario 64 and Donkey Kong Country 3. So it only makes sense that when Donkey Kong is invited to join the race in Mario Kart 64 in place of his father, he seems to at least be neutral regarding Mario, with nothing indicating that he's for or against the guy. I still think there's a little underlying tension though, because although he's invited to the first Mario party and referred to as being part of a group of good friends, Wario was there too. And sure enough, the manual specifies that even DK and Wario were included, which is a little passive-aggressive if you ask me. But hey, this is a fresh friendship, so it's only fair that they're still feeling each other out. He gets invited to play golf, and once again, it's vague if this is strictly competition or friends having fun, but at this point, they've clearly spent enough time together to bond, because it's now that we enter what I refer to as the peaceful era of their relationship. For 5 long years of games, Mario and Donkey Kong seem to be friendly with one another. He returned for Mario Party 2, 3, and 4, and in the first two was referred to as a friend. And in Mario Tennis 64's intro, he comes out with the rest of the heroes, while Wario, Waluigi, Bowser, and Boo are set up to be the opposers. Donkey Kong Jr. is also an unlockable character in this game, and even though he retires from the racing scene after Super Mario Kart, he can be seen in the stands rooting for his son in Mario Kart Double Dash. Something interesting happens in Mario Party 5 though. Turning point, you might say. Donkey Kong is not invited to the party. Does he show up? Yeah, so does Bowser. However, DK writes this off. Maybe he missed that email. He's sure there's a reasonable explanation, so there are no hard feelings and he'll still help out the gang, even at times kicking Bowser's booty when he tries to mess with people. And he'll continue to help out in Mario Party 6, once again acting as Bowser's opposite. I still consider him to be friends with Mario at this point. But around this time, another very interesting thing happens. Mario vs. Donkey Kong for the Game Boy Advance comes out. And it's this game that I think establishes a very important precedent. Donkey Kong is not divorced from his instinct, and like his father and grandfather before him, tends to act on impulse. In Mario vs. Donkey Kong, both the Game Boy Advance version and the Switch remake, Donkey Kong sees these toy Marios, falls head over heels for them, and goes out to get some, but they sell out before he can get there. So without a second thought, he bursts into the toy factory and steals a bunch of them, gleefully unaware of the panic that he's causing the Toads. He indicates that Mario should back off before running off with Mario in tow. In the Game Boy Advance version, the first time you beat all the worlds, there's a cutscene where everyone laughs at DK losing all the Mario toys, and upset that everyone's laughing at him, he kidnaps the Toads. In the remake, they don't laugh, but regardless, DK's impulse takes over and he takes the Toads out of excitement. And although Mario doesn't laugh at DK and seems more concerned for his safety in the Switch version, he does check if he's okay in the GBA version, and in both games, Mario will give DK a mini Mario in the end and they'll be on good terms. Though strangely, in the GBA version, Donkey Kong cries at the end, whereas the Switch version just has him looking angry. This is toxic masculinity rewriting history. It's fine if Donkey Kong cried. Let the ape get an Oscar. Either way, this seems to set up that Donkey Kong somewhat childishly acts purely on what he's feeling in the moment, and that Mario knows that and will give him what he wants at times to keep the peace. But at this point, their dynamic has changed, which is kind of fair because, like, imagine if there was a 5-year-old that was much larger and more powerful than you that liked to hang around and play with your friend group sometimes. They're not gonna be your arch enemy, but they're not gonna be like the rest of your friends either. I guess it's actually more like being friends with a gorilla. But either way, something shifts here. In Mario Party 7, when Mario gets to invite all his friends onto a luxury ocean liner, he invites Boo before he invites Donkey Kong. And while Donkey Kong takes not being invited to the party in stride for the 5th and 6th games, this is where he realizes that his invitation did not in fact get lost in the mail. This is the first Mario Party where you face off one-on-one with Donkey Kong in minigames, and he will cheer if you lose and get upset if you win over him. He continues to play sports with them, but in Super Mario Strikers, his alliance doesn't seem to fall anywhere in particular. And in Super Mario Baseball, he has good chemistry with Diddy and Dixie, which makes sense, but also has good chemistry with notorious bad guy Petey Piranha. The manual also says he has neutral feelings for Koopa, Toad, Boo, and Shy Guy. Donkey Kong is loyal to no man anymore. And what a time for Mario vs. Donkey Kong 2 to come out. But I just want to know, what in the enemies to lovers is this cutscene before the game starts? Why do they look so happy their toys kissed? How else am I supposed to read these expressions? This is such a weird inclusion. Putting that aside, Mario, perhaps in an attempt to get on Donkey Kong's good side and dissuade him from stealing mini Marios, has produced mini DKs as well. And when DK gets a crush on Pauline and she chooses Mario's toy over DK's, we once again see DK's primal rage surface and he snatches her. Since kidnapping someone when you're angry is an absolutely wild thing to do, Mario rushes after, only to find Pauline surrounded by presents and food and DK looking remorseful. Pauline kisses a DK toy and everyone is fine again. The whiplash I get from these games. But all of this reinforces that Donkey Kong only amounts to what his current emotion is, and has an incredibly dangerous history of thinking he's entitled to whatever he likes. Loves the mini Mario toys? Steals them. Loves Pauline? Steals her. I'm not gonna lie, at this point I think Mario's just subscribing to the philosophy of keeping your friends close and your enemies closer. Maybe too close. But this charade at least keeps the peace. Mario Party 8, Donkey Kong is back to smiling, handing out free stars left and right. Mario Party DS, though, gave us a sharp reminder of where DK stands, when him and Diddy are invited to Bowser's for a feast and DK doesn't even think before rushing off. Again, his allegiance is wherever what he wants is. If Bowser's gonna give him food, he's all for Bowser. He's for food, but Bowser's a vehicle. DK gets turned to stone by one of Bowser's minions, and when Mario's group breaks him free, he doesn't even acknowledge them or care that it was Bowser's minion that trapped him. He just continues on towards the food. Even towards the end, it is a complete accident that DK breaks the scepter and returns the heroes to normal size. He isn't trying to. He just wants food. This time, his impulses just happen to work out in Mario's favor. Even more of DK and Mario's relationship is revealed in the Smash Brothers series, although there's plenty of debate as to whether or not any of that can actually be taken as canon. But regardless of if it's canon or not, I do think Nintendo was trying to write it so that the characters were as true to themselves as they would be in their own universes, so I believe it's worth examining. In Super Smash Bros. Brawl, Snake's codec conversation about Donkey Kong is as follows.
The Donkey Kong who fought that epic battle with Mario was this guy's grandfather.
That was a long time ago. What about this Donkey Kong? Does he get along with Mario?
Nope, they're still at it. Seems like they're always competing in something.
So Otacon straight up says they're not friends, they're competitors. Now this is third-party hearsay, so I won't take it as gold, but they clearly don't give off the impression to others that they're good buddies. In Adventure Mode, DK and Diddy are chasing after some of Bowser's minions who have stolen their bananas, where we once again witness the sheer barbarism DK is capable of when he's upset in this brutal moment. However, DK also demonstrates loyalty to Diddy by taking a hit for him. Well, he could have done it in a way that left less bruises. But it does show that Donkey Kong isn't entirely selfish, that even though he picks on Diddy, he is fully capable of a genuine friendship and is in fact faithful to the Kongs. Once he's freed, he does fight alongside a pretty ragtag group of heroes that doesn't include Mario, but it's really all of the characters, including Bowser and Ganon and whatnot, fighting against being wiped out completely, so I wouldn't say this lends any credit to his relationship with Mario in particular. The next time we see Mario and DK together is Mario Super Sluggers, where once again he has good chemistry with the Kongs, but oddly bad chemistry with King K. Rool and Critter, even though they're on DK's team. In the challenge mode, Mario offers to help him after Bowser Jr. messes with the Kongs, but DK is still reluctant, first having to put Mario to the test to see if he's good enough to help. DK is also protective of Dixie during this, but even she says he won't listen to anyone when he gets his mind set on something. I would say at this point, Mario and DK are neutral friendly-ish, but he's still first and foremost Team Kong. Then the next two Mario vs. Donkey Kong games came out, and these give me a headache, man. Minnie's March Again makes me genuinely angry with how much it's a step back from the last game in terms of storytelling effort. This time, the Mini Mario World tickets sell out before DK can get one, so he gets angry and steals Pauline. But instead of Mario finding her in a room of gifts or anything like that, she's just standing in front of a window. And then DK turns out the lights and just steals her again with no explanation. And also, there's a window with daylight right there. What did turning the lights off do? Anyway, the second time Mario catches up with them at the end of the game, it turns out they were just testing the new minis. Okay. Then in Miniland Mayhem, something's being sold, they sell out, DK steals Pauline. But the biggest difference is that in this one, Pauline screams bloody murder.
Hey, please help me!
So I'm like, okay, well they're definitely not testing toys in this one, unless Pauline's a sociopath with a BFA in acting. And then this is the big finale that wraps up how everything is saved after that traumatizing event.
Here, you like?
Cool.
Donkey Kong, how sweet.
12 seconds. They're fine. The dichotomy of this moment versus this moment.
Donkey Kong.
And they wonder why I don't know where they stand at any given moment. But sure, they've entered their next peaceful era. In Mario Party 9, DK serves to help them by tossing them up to a secret spot filled with bananas. Then we're treated to Mario and Donkey Kong, Minis on the Move, where the manual specifies that Donkey Kong will not be your foe this time and instead teamed up with Pauline. Fine. Clarity. Love it. And those fuzzy feelings continue over into Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, where Donkey Kong can be heard playing games that include Mario Kart 7 and Super Mario 3D Land during his idle animation. Then, fans were begging for it, we got another Mario vs. Donkey Kong Tipping Stars. There's absolutely no preface, DK steals Pauline, and in the end it's a surprise party. Money please! But then, something huge happened. In Mario Party 10, Donkey Kong was invited back to the party, baby! His first time as a playable character since Mario Party 4. And then in Mario Party Star Rush, he was an unlockable playable character. And then in Mario Party, the top 100, he was non-playable opponent in a couple minigames. And then in Super Mario Party, boom, good friends again. And then in Mario Party Superstars, playable, but no indication of feelings. What are we doing with Donkey Kong, guys? So what is Mario's relationship with Donkey Kong right now? The most recent game to come out as of filming this was Mario vs. Donkey Kong for the Switch, but since that's a pretty dang one-to-one remake, it falls on the same place of the timeline as the first one did, so that doesn't really tell us anything. Honestly, I think another one of the more recent games that feature both Mario and DK, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, sums it up pretty well. One of the trailers for that game featured Donkey Kong and Diddy fighting their longtime rival, King K. Rool. But the next trailer showed them all hanging out together. Donkey Kong does whatever Donkey Kong feels like. His only true loyalty is to the Kongs, and even then his emotions will still get the better of him sometimes. And I think this duality and blurring of relationship lines is exactly what Nintendo wants. It gives them the flexibility to be able to give Mario an adversary that isn't Bowser in some games, while still leaving the door open for him to have an extra ally when they need it as well. They seem to have settled on Mario and Donkey Kong being friendly with each other as long as Donkey Kong is happy. And since Mario needs to be the most good guy, clean slate, self-insert hero, he had to switch from this to this. If Nintendo wants to continue making movies with both of them in it and building extensions to Super Nintendo World, they must remain friendly. But in order for people to not lose interest, they must remain rivals. Schrodinger's gorilla. However, the good news is that this exact formula ensures that we'll have plenty of examples from games to draw from in the future. If I were a betting gal, I would put money on the continuation of DK mainly just following his impulsive nature and that being his driving force behind all his decisions. What vibe did you all get from Donkey Kong and Mario's relationship? And what do you think of the Mario vs. Donkey Kong remake? Let me know below. Also, a huge shout out to my patrons over on Patreon who have been helping me decide which videos I should make and which thumbnails I should use and really just helping shape the channel. If you want input on future content as well, hop on over to my Patreon, link in bio, and consider becoming a member. Even the lowest tier gets a vote in a lot of things. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go reanalyze this weird scene frame by frame again. What does it mean?
Goombanna is the one to watch. She didn't come to play. Gaming vids that'll make you laugh and think and put them on replay. Intelligent, kind of funny. Her community's #1. Stick around and kick your feet up. Goombanna has just begun.